Welcome everyone to this impromptu episode of Real to Real Talk from, for the first time ever, 3 different states.
Yeah.
We can say that now.
You're right.
Yep.
2 time zones.
Yeah, usually you and I are both in Texas and Paul's in Florida by himself. And now I'm in Texas.
We've kind of formed a ginormous Bermuda Triangle from Maine to Florida to Texas.
Seriously.
It's just everybody in that triangle, just beware.
Yeah.
Beware.
We really have. I think we're at the furthest points. But earlier today, I felt like that scene in the Fellowship of the Ring where Sam says, "If I take one step more, it'll be the furthest away from home I've ever been."
But you went to Alaska, so you can't really say that.
No, I haven't. I never made it to Alaska.
You didn't get it?
No.
I thought you went to... Oh.
We were talking about it the other day. That's why I was like, we need to do something.
I had plans to go to Alaska
for
Derby a few years, just about 3 or 4 years ago, and those plans fell through at the last minute. So
okay, I didn't realize that.
So being in Maine tonight, I literally was going to try to film something that was like, I'll be the furthest away from. If I drive 1 more mile, I'll be the furthest away from home that I've ever been.
So cute. I love it.
I know.
I want, on behalf of everybody else, I want to thoroughly thank you for taking us along on your trip. It's been an absolute pleasure and joy.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. We're live, guys, and so we have comments. Already we are hearing from Becca, Susan's sister. Who reminds who reminds everyone that I've been to Japan, but I haven't filmed from Japan. So
right.
But
I know what you were talking about. United States. States.
Yeah, right. And having driven a large portion of the country, this is definitely man.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're here to talk movies, and I was just loving the fact that we're actually talking from so many different locations this time around. So but that being the case, no matter where we are and no matter what logo I'm wearing, sorry, this is Real to Real Talk.
Cross promo it. That's fine. Right. Synergy. Let's get it going.
You can also find me at. Yeah. I told Susan that this shirt made me feel like the cops in Fifth Element with the light. So
nice. Yeah.
But I tell you what, a whole bunch of people asked me today. I got to say thanks to Liz June, who made the shirt. A lot of people were like, "So what's that?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you."
And plus, if we're going to do this and we're going to start cross promoting, you can send me like some of your free food that you get from your friends, and I'll eat it while we're doing shows and stuff. Okay,
there you go,
Paul. I promise. And when the food is free, I'll let you know.
Excellent.
But so here we are. We wanted to get on tonight because the world has been watching Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes.
And where we would typically do a whole show in its entirety, we thought we'd get on for a little bit because it's unique circumstances.
Yeah.
We at least want to file our review of the film Godzilla versus Kong because it's a happening. It's an event. It's long in the making, Paul, in terms of the new. I guess remakes, since they're
a franchise, the new the reboot of the franchises for Godzilla and Kong and the single universe that they have created.
Exactly. No. Now I want to make sure we go on the record, and Susan, I promise this is not to put you on the spot, but this whole franchise includes the first. Godzilla was the first. Then we had exactly. Then we had. Kong Skull Island, followed by Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then now Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
Have we all logged in on having seen most of those films? Where do we stand? Because I've seen all 4.
I've seen all 4 as well. Susan, hopefully you've seen at least the most recent one. Otherwise,
I saw the one we're reviewing today.
Awesome. That's all you need.
Well, there you go.
And I'm on record very frequently as saying I sometimes like it when you haven't seen the other ones, just because I am curious about the going in clean review, and that's what you're going to be able to give us. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think Becca's comment of why the F not was to you not having watched the films, but I'm going to pretend it was. So
listen. She's my sister. She can say stuff like that to me.
indeed,
but then you give it back.
Oh yeah.
right, exactly.
Oh yeah.
So here we are with this major motion picture, Godzilla versus Kong. I know I'd been waiting for it. Pandemic wise, I think there had been probably not the huge marketing campaign that would have traditionally happened with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that once I knew it was going to happen, I was excited, especially because of the four. For me, Kong Skull Island is my absolute favorite, and so I was ready for this mega powered battle between these two characters. And I also want to comment that I have been a fan of all things Godzilla over the years. 51 years, I can go back and think of so many Godzilla movies that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And Godzilla versus Kong was always one that sort of enchanted me and took my imagination places because they're great characters, right?
Absolutely.
So here we are in all of the CGI rich world that we live in. We have an opportunity to get this story in an explosive fashion. So what I want to do tonight is let's just talk about our thoughts. If you don't know the taco rating by now, folks, it's a max of 5 tacos plus guac. I'll just lay it out right up front.
Yeah.
And eventually, as we go through this conversation, there'll be a point where we share what we gave this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to start with Susan, since she's coming into this movie clean.
Yes.
And then Paul will go to you and let's all weigh in. So Susan, I'll turn it over to you. Godzilla versus Kong. Give us some thoughts on the movie itself.
So okay. So the going in clean thing, I was like, yeah, I can use this to my advantage. It's going to be a whole new perspective. I felt like I was missing a lot of information. I felt like I mean, like, obviously I know because, it's impossible to not know, I guess, by now, what's going on. And like, to me, it was just like, if I hadn't had even the tiniest bit of knowledge, I would have been really confused. And at points I was confused. Anyway, in terms of the movie itself, like, it was very heavy, CGI. I think that they did a really great job in terms of casting certain roles. Like, there, like the bad guy, the human bad guy, was just meh.
Okay.
He it wasn't just, it was the character as well. It was very flat and like just kind of like, it didn't, I was like, who cares? Who cares? And like, of course they had to put like pretty boy, what's Alexander Skarsgård up there because he's pretty. But there were definitely points at which I was like, yeah, but who cares?
Right.
Like, there were a number of times, and like the way that the human bad guy, I mean, it was very anticlimactic the way that he was dispatched, I guess.
Dealt with. Yeah.
It was kind of like that's a freaking cop out. Like, he deserved more.
All right. Okay, and let's kind of, if we can, I should have said this. Let's reserve our thoughts about Godzilla versus Kong in terms of their encounters till after this first sort of overview.
Cool.
So, Paul, give us your thoughts overall on the impression this film gave you.
I'm going to actually do a bigger view of the entire universe right now, and just point out that they have done a better job of setting up this universe than DC has of their universe, and just flat out, and like the Wonder Woman 1984 doesn't fit in anywhere. Doesn't, but the 3 prior movies for this one, as Susan was pointing out, I'm not surprised you missed out on some things, because if I had, I hadn't seen Kong Skull Island until a couple weeks ago, and if I hadn't, I would have been I'm missing stuff. And I even rewatched King of the Monsters because I heard Godzilla King of the Monsters because I hadn't seen the after credit scene, and then I read a little thing saying, hey, you might want to, if you haven't, go check out the after credit scene. And even missing that would have been like, oh no, I missed something. Like, where did that come from? And it's look, there are some things that this movie did not do very well, and that is live in a universe of reality. But it's Godzilla versus Kong, so I'm willing to forgive them things like anybody that's ever like taken middle school history class in Florida knows that there are no basements in Florida because they would flood, and because our entire bedrock is limestone, super porous limestone, and you go 3 feet in the water and you now have a 3 foot deep pond. It's just, and so like the fact that like there's this base in Pensacola that has 33 sub levels is like, no, it doesn't. And then they hop on the globe-trotting maglev system, which I love, but is like, what? So there were some things that like really pushed the suspension of disbelief.
Oh yeah.
More than is needed in a movie that's Godzilla versus Kong. Like, I kind of feel like you can push the suspension of disbelief pretty far with Godzilla versus Kong, but like there's a limit, and I do think that the globe-trotting maglev system it was that limit. One other knock is I did feel like they misused some people, like you mentioned Skarsgård. I didn't feel like his character didn't totally work for me, but who did totally work was Rebecca Hall. Rebecca Hall's character as the Kong Whisperer, 100% I'm in. And her adopted daughter absolutely loved it. Sign me up for more. I want a Kong sequel with just those two and Kong, and they just kind of hang out. Like, I'm down. Yeah. I'm down. I didn't like what they did with the Millie Bobby Brown character either. But overall, like I'm mentioning the negatives because you told me not to talk about the fights, because then it's just going to be all gush and love, and so we'll save that.
And I think that's going to be a common thread, and that's why, because the for me the problems with this film, of which there are many, and I'm someone, as you guys know, I can suspend disbelief with the best of them. When it makes me fall out of a movie, it's like a bit much. My biggest flaw that I find in this film is you could land anywhere in the middle of this movie and still be okay, because the story itself just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I guess I feel like in this case, there was a definitive decision made that story didn't matter. It was spectacle. Okay. Because there was so little effort put in. I mean, you had the skeleton of a story, but there was no focus on details. Like I was telling friends immediately after having seen it, Apex is the least secure facility in the entire world. In the entire world. For what they're there to do.
Yeah. What they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Really? He's waltzing in and out of rooms, Yep. I mean, even to the point where they found
consoles.
right when they went to the Gadara Head Center, I'm like, there's no, and then a friend of mine put it to me even better. She's like, how is it that in a glass room it took the guards that long to see them? This was so it was things like that to me that made the film storytelling feel lazy.
Okay.
But it was counterbalanced
100%.
with some fantastic special effects, and because I'm sorry, I was there for the fights.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was there for the fights. So definitely huge struggles with me with this film in terms of liking it overall. There was just too many points where, and not to get just let me say this, and then we'll get to the spectacle of it in a minute. I laughed so hard out loud when Mechagodzilla made their appearance, because I was like,
hashtag spoiler alert.
Well,
is that widely known? Oh, it's okay.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh well. Sorry.
But my point being that I was like, if you know the history, this ain't the history, and so
yeah, no, you're right. But It worked. I felt it worked. And it's funny because as soon as they said Apex was, into robotics, and it's the first 3 minutes of the movie, I leaned over to my brother. By the way, went and saw it in a theater. I was so happy. Leaned over to my brother and said, Mechagodzilla. And like, he's usually the one who like gets things before I do. I've said this before. I really don't. For as many movies I've seen, for whatever reason, I don't pick up on these things. But I knew instantly. Oh, it's Mechagodzilla. I didn't mind that they changed the backstory on Mechagodzilla.
Well, they needed to for the way in which the whole Kong versus Godzilla, because the issue. The one last thing about what didn't work for me is how do you end King of the Monsters with all of these news clips of how the other Titans are helping humanity in that last montage as the movie credits are preparing to roll.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden your story is we're down to these two because they've all been defeated. And I'm like,
I missed that part of this storyline.
It's in the credits of the last movie.
No. I'm saying I missed that these are the last two. I got that these were the alphas. Like these are the alphas that are there, and I didn't get that the other ones were gone.
Well, they made them. They used the term defeated.
Okay.
Meaning, but that's why they were all out of the picture. That was sort of their convenient way of removing them from the picture, because the montage at the end of King of the Monsters.
Yeah.
Explained that now they're helping humanity, the Titans are, and then the montage of this film opening was when we learned that that's why Godzilla and Kong are the only two that remain.
Interesting. Okay.
At least remain active.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and can I sub note? When I watched King of the Monsters just a few days ago before Godzilla versus Kong,
right.
I must have fallen asleep the first time I watched that movie because I was like, I don't remember any of this. And I had told a ton of people back then, I was like, I hated that movie. Absolutely hated it. And then I watched it and I was like, okay, that was okay. That was pretty good.
Yeah, so, I really liked King of the Monsters.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So let's talk confrontations.
Yeah.
Okay, we get one thing I will give this film credit for is they didn't make us wait.
No.
For Godzilla versus Kong.
No.
Spectacular encounter to begin with in the ocean.
Yeah.
Whoever wants to jump in because I absolutely love the fight.
I just want to hear Susan's thoughts on that because that was no.
Susan.
Okay, listen. There were very few things that I'm not not an action movie person. Y'all know this. Right. I watched them and it was to me, it was just kind of like, okay.
Really?
Is that it? Like, that's over? Okay.
Are you talking story?
No, in the fight,
or
when they're in the ocean, when they're fighting in the ocean, just the one that you use as example, it's like, okay, so somebody's gonna have to pull the thing to get the chains off of Kong. Oh, look, he did. Okay, the end. Like it wasn't entertaining to me at all.
You take Susan's reaction and flip it 100%, 180 degrees.
Let me.
Me.
This is what I think has to do with it, is because I don't have any of the backstory or any of the history. Like, to me, it felt too predictable and too like I'm not starry-eyed like you guys. You guys are like, this is the movie, and I'm waiting for it. And to me, it's just like, it's a movie. The end. Like, to me, it wasn't.
Kong.
Who gives a? Not me.
Was it better than 1320?
I don't care. I had no desire to watch this show, the movie, before we assigned it to the podcast. I had no desire to watch it.
Really?
I don't have any desire to go back and watch the other ones. I have no desire. That's not my kind of movie.
I can't wait to sit down and watch this at home. I at least once, maybe twice more before it leaves HBO Max. Yeah, I mean, look, the CGI has arrived. I mean, like, you go back and you look at, CGI from the early 2000s, and it's clunky and it's obvious, and the colors never match up with what's going on in the background, and it's not anymore. It's arrived. It's here. This is it. This is I mean, it was just glorious and beautiful, and I did not miss men in suits. Let's just leave it at that. I was not hungry for men in suits, not hungry for claymation King Kong. They did a fantastic job with the fights.
That I can agree on, because it was a spectacle.
Yeah.
Once the fights happened, and as the fights happened, that's where you really saw. You can strip away all the human interplay of this movie. Yes, there were elements of it that were needed to move the story forward, but when it came down to why we were there, let's be honest, most of us, which was to see the lizard and the monkey fight.
Yeah.
This movie delivered in that regard.
Yeah.
Now,
yes,
there were still points though where I was taken out of it, and you guys saw the meme I made, where I made the movie poster that the tagline was "So many casualties." And this is my problem with a lot of superhero films, so I can't fault just this franchise. Is the immense amount of destruction. And they try to justify it by talking about how, and now there are bunkers that people go to whenever there's
yeah.
There was a lot of damage and a lot of carnage as a result of these two battling. And point number 2, some buildings are built better than others. And
for sure. Well, anything that was built after Godzilla came back needed to meet new building standards. You wouldn't make everybody tear down the buildings, but the newer buildings need to meet, we'll just call them kaiju pummeling. But to the destruction standpoint, and this is something that goes back to like Superman from the 1970s, is that and my problem with quite frankly my problem with Man of Steel is that like Godzilla cared just as much about civilian casualties as Superman did in Man of Steel. And I think that's a problem that I have with DC is they just don't give a shit. Like they don't care about, like in Marvel, they at least put forth the effort to be like, okay, we don't want people to die,
not until Civil War.
Well, no, Ultron, they 100% were trying to save people off
right.
of
I get what you're saying, but that's the thing I think is that can be said about even Marvel. It's like that became a part of their storyline because of how much destruction was being caused sort of in the overall thing.
But I mean, they incorporated it in the storyline, whereas, in DC, it's just kind of like, and look, I mean, Godzilla and Kong, they don't care. They're
right.
Godzilla and Kong. Fuck you, people.
Well, and it's a throwback to the old Japanese films because if no matter how far you go back in the overall Godzilla franchise, there isn't a regard for human life.
Right.
It's about the battling monsters. So hats off to him, I guess, in that regard. But overall, it was just like it always gets me into this place where I'm like, this is so ridiculous, but fun, a lot of fun.
So much fun. I loved it. I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. Part of it might have been that I was so happy to be in a theater. I am so happy to have seen that this movie made 40 million plus over the weekend. The first movie to break 20 since February of last year.
Yep.
The first movie to break 20 million opening weekend since first week of March, last week of February of last year, and that's a big deal. It's a big deal. And is it too early? Yeah. Guess what, people? We're still averaging 60,000 cases a day, which is way too big. But I feel like people understand what needs to happen and is, so I don't know. I was happy. Get vaccinated, but also once you're vaccinated, get back into the theaters. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah, I was there on invitation from a fellow podcaster.
Okay.
Thanks, Juan of Con Culture Podcast. I should know that right on the tip of my tongue. I got to see it in a theater thanks to that podcast and my friend Juan. And yeah, I'm going to say that there was that part of me that it was an extra feeling of I hate to call it nostalgia, but just it felt good to see it in that setting.
Mm-hmm.
And so that added to my enjoyment of it overall.
Sure.
So, but we sure had a lot of laughs about it on the way home.
Oh yeah. Well,
so
yeah.
I'm curious now with our taco ratings. Susan, I'm going to ask that you go in the middle if you don't mind. Paul, I'd like you to start us out and let us know on our 5 taco scale. You can give it guac if you want to give it more than 5.
Yeah.
What was your rating on Godzilla versus Kong?
I've been going back and forth. I'm just gonna do 4 tacos. I was thinking maybe 3 tacos and guac for the fighting, but the reality is no. I enjoyed it more than that. I'm going with 4. I really enjoyed it. I had so much fun. Yeah, 4 tacos.
All right, Susan.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say 2 tacos because there was so much missing. And like the storylines ended abruptly, and I think Mecha Godzilla was on screen for like a total of 12 minutes or something like that. And it was just like
it's a glorious 12
there
minutes.
was no. It was just kind of like who fucking cares?
Yeah.
That's it. The end. So,
got it. Hey, but at least I got it 2 tacos.
I do want to say just really quick, like Mecha Godzilla was just there to tear shit up and did that to perfection. So bravo,
and to give them a common foe.
Yeah,
so,
right.
And it came out of nowhere and disappeared just as quickly. Who cares?
Didn't come out of nowhere. I called it in the first 3 minutes. Boom.
What I'm talking about, like
I know.
Yeah.
I know
anyway, whatever.
I know what you mean.
Moving on. All right, Sergio. What was your taco rating?
So for me, I couldn't get past 3 plus guac, just because again I looked at it holistically.
Sure.
And the 3 tacos plus the guac are all about the fight scenes.
Yeah.
If I look at it cinematically, with the elements of story, direction, acting, some science that just doesn't make sense. Again, and I know. Listen, give me some slack because I normally look past these things.
I know that's why I'm
it took me out of it. So I mean, those ships. Oh, come on. Yeah. And then don't even get me started on the Hollow Earth. I love the concept, but all of a sudden it's like, okay.
Wait. How can you knock Hollow Earth and say your favorite is Kong Skull Island? The whole concept of Hollow Earth is introduced during that.
But it still was happening above the surface.
Okay.
Like that was a whole different thing. And then, boy, what a cheap out on Skull Island. Oh, there was just, again, so many things that made me go, oh, no, I didn't invest all this time to watch these movies again to only have this happen.
I thought you liked Truman Show.
That's pretty much what it was. But yeah, so 3 tacos plus guac. The fight scenes were amazing. But again, that's what I was mainly watching to see. So that is our thought on Godzilla versus Kong. Susan, I imagine you'll be watching it again tomorrow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Totally. Can't wait.
Oh man.
So you don't want us to assign you the prior 3 movies to get you caught up on what happened.
I will. Let me tell you right now what'll happen if you do that.
No.
Not only it won't just be a veto. I will walk out. I will quit. I will be done. The end. It won't happen.
No.
It's not going to happen.
We're gonna get Dirty Dancing. Don't worry. Jeez.
Hey, let me tell you, Kong Skull Island is a good standalone.
I would. I was. Yeah.
It's a good standalone.
I would not. We're not going to do it. We're not doing it.
Don't worry about it. She'll have to choose it. I was happy that Jen decided to watch it. So, but yeah. So, all right. Well, there you go. Like we always tell you guys, don't not watch it because of us.
Don't watch it because of us. Because
either way.
Yes.
Yeah.
If this is the type of thing that might be your jam, this is going to be your jam.
Yeah. So with that in mind, check it out when you can. Tell us, let us know what you thought about Godzilla versus Kong. You can find us anywhere on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and such. If you're watching us here on YouTube also, since we're live across all of our platforms tonight, please make sure you leave us a comment on the YouTube discussion area. And we thank you for joining us. All of our social media is there flashing across the screen. We'll flash it one more time for you. Facebook, Real to Real Talk. You can find us also on Instagram at Real to Real Talk, and of course on YouTube. So when you're on YouTube, click subscribe. Make sure you click that notification bell so you know when our episodes land. And yeah, we'll look forward to doing this once again sometime in the next few days when I get home from my trip. So not sure when that's going to be.
Take some naps.
Absolutely. Well, Susan, Paul, thank you for joining me here. Thank you for letting me do this from the road.
Thanks for doing it from the road, man. That's all. That was awesome. Thank you for giving us the chance to talk. It was fun.
Hey, it was fun discussing the lizard and the monkey movie.
I loved it. Loved it.
All right. Well, to all of you, we say thank you very much. From all of us, we remind you, you're awesome. You're amazing. And the world's a better place because you are in it. We'll see you next time on Real to Real Talk.